Hi guys, thanks for checking out my Gazebo Build series of videos. I'm going to be taking you through the start to finish process that I used to construct my gazebo on my own with no special equipment. So the next stage is to rebate the posts and add the top beams. I wanted the top beams to sit flush with the posts, so I had to rebate the top of the posts. This gives additional support to the roof as the beams have a surface to sit on rather than just being screwed into the top side of the post. Once I'd rebated all the posts, it was time to start drilling and fixing. I marked out the drilling points on each corner at right angles to avoid the screws hitting each other where they cross. These are the screws I used, wafer head screws with a Torx bit. They go in really easy with an impact driver. Now to cut the notch in the king post. You'll see later that I added additional posts at the front and the middle. This provides better support for the ridge beam. I pre-drilled the holes to secure it in place on the top beam. Let's take a look at how that looks. Moving on to the rafters and marking for the bird's mouth notch. There's loads of info and videos online on how to do this, so I'm not going to go through this, and I'm probably not the best place to do this either. It's pretty simple to work out using your speed square and tape measure, so don't worry. I cut mine with a jigsaw. Once you've done one, you can use it as a template for the others. You might only need slight modifications for each rafter, but make sure you check the fit at both ends before cutting. Not too bad for a morning's work. Time to get the chicken cooking, trying the frog method today for a change. So that's the second lot done and dry fitted. Once I was happy, I screwed everything in place on the ridge beam and the top beams. I used 3 screws at each end, as that's what you would do if you were nailing them in place. Next, to get the roof boards on. These are 18mm exterior OSB, and this is how an old guy gets them on the roof by himself. I did a test fit but then removed them as I wanted to stagger the seams to give more structural integrity. I also cut the rafters to the correct length and then cut the lower roof boards to fit, leaving a small overhang enough for the fascia board. So here's some footage of me cutting the rafters to the correct length and levelling up the ends so they're all plumb. This is another good technique I learned online. Mark your desired length and then run your string along the bottom of the rafters. Mark your vertical line using your level, and then you can use a sliding bevel to transfer that line onto all your other rafters. Obviously I was paranoid and I checked them all again with my level and tape measure before chopping the ends off with my circular saw. It turned out quite nice. Repeat for the other side. Here's another thing I picked up from watching online roofing videos. These are called eaves felt support trays. Maybe it's overkill for a felt roof, but maybe it'll give me a few extra years out of the OSB. Next comes the waterproof membrane. Lay this from the bottom to the top and make sure it overlaps by 150mm or so. We use the lines printed on the roll. Once that's all stapled down, you're ready to start laying the shingles. I'm using felt shingles that give an effect of a slate roof. When you start the bottom row of shingles, you nail them upside down to provide extra water runoff protection. Then you just work your way along, making sure you're covering the nails and staggering the joint seams. Once you get to the ridge, you need to cut individual ridge shingles. You can make these by cutting a strip of tiles into individual shingles, mitered by approximately 1 inch at one end. Once you get a production line going, it goes quickly. So, starting from the front of the gazebo and using the same process as the first row of shingles, you add an additional tile the opposite way round and nail this down. You can use a sealant if you want to provide extra adhesion for this tile. You should lay your ridge shingles so that the prevailing wind and rain will run over the tiles and not under the tiles. For me, that's from the back to the front. Then you work along the ridge, nailing each shingle and making sure you cover the nails from the one before. Once all the shingles were done, I cut all the side supports and fixed them to the posts. I wasn't happy with the length once I'd done. I wanted them to be smaller and I also wanted to add a curve to give a bit more character, so I did this later on, as you'll see. This was a cold morning in December. I waited for the frost to thaw before heading out that day. One of the final parts to complete was the side fascias and the front barge boards. The fascia boards were easy, just screwing them into the rafters. The barge boards just need a mitre cutting at the apex and fixing into place. I trimmed back the roof underlay for a neat finish. Here's a look at the side supports after they'd been cut shorter and shaped. Quite difficult to do neatly with a jigsaw, but had to do the best I could with the tools I had. Let's call it rustic. After a couple of months, I noticed the roof had a slight sag in the middle. Maybe this was just the timber settling over time, or maybe it was due to the weight of the roof. So I decided to take action and fit the missing 2 posts at the front and the side just to be on the safe side and avoid any further sag. I also added purlins to each side. The new front post added more structural support for the roof, and obviously it looked substantial. So that's it for the gazebo build. I'm pleased with the way it came out, learned some lessons along the way, and now I've got a covered barbecue area to see me through the winter. The next part is the paving, so stay tuned for that. It's about 45 square metres to do. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe. It would be great to get to 1k subscribers with your help. See you in part 3.